Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I am joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Ladies and gentlemen, Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Jared. How about you?
Not doing too bad. Excited. Another fantastic day of talking baseball.
Of course.
On YouTube.
Always excited.
And all our other locations that you can listen and watch us. But yeah, let's get it. Let's just jump right into it. Question of the day. You guys know I like to start this podcast off with question of the day. Nate, you don't even know what this one is today.
Nope.
We're on it. Who hits harder, Will Smith of the Oscars or Will Smith of the Dodgers?
Will Smith of the Dodgers. That dude ranks.
A little bit harder?
Yeah, dude ranks.
All right. Jokes aside, though. I had to throw it out there. I still don't know if it's real or not. I think it's as fake as can be. But,
I think it's fake too.
I do too. But
we'll move on.
We'll move on. Will Smith of the Dodgers, always. Will Smith of the Dodgers. So, guys, as always, thanks so much for listening to this podcast here at Talking Halos, making us the best podcast around. I truly do think we are, and so do the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Numbers back up what we believe. Sounds good to me, guys. So, guys, if you could subscribe to us wherever you're listening to it, leave us a review. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, we're getting pretty close to that 100 subscriber mark, which is pretty cool. Didn't think that would ever be a thing, but hey, being YouTube superstars is I'm just kidding. That's not a thing. We are not. But yeah, thanks guys for all the support. You can follow myself on Twitter, Jared_Timms. You can follow Nate at NateGreen34. And guys, let's get back to some questions. So next question is more of a comment, I'd say, but I really enjoy doing these questions because it gives us stuff to talk about. Because actually, before question, a couple days ago, Noah Syndergaard pitched. Let's get a little. I wouldn't really say a recap, but how do you feel about that? How did you like what you saw?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was pounding the zone. Even if his off-speed pitches, like even if they were out of the zone, he was competitive. I think that's something that the Angels have lacked is like all of his pitches were competitive. There wasn't really a pitch where I was like, oh, that was kind of a waste of a pitch. So I like the demeanor. I like that he got through 3 2/3, through 60 pitches. He should be on track to throw 85 to 100 pitches in his first start, depending on how it is, how taxing those 80 to 100 pitches are. I thought he threw the ball well. I'm really excited to see him in his probably third game of the season where we'll see him is my guess.
Yeah, no, I was extremely excited. He brings, and Nate and I have talked about this many times, he brings that little bit of edge, a little bit of chippiness. He said it right before, maybe the day before his start or something like that, that he feels that this team's a little bit different, to, say what he said without too many explicits. He looked good. I'm excited to see what he does. I know he's got had a meeting with Joe Madden about restrictions this year. We'll see what ends up happening with that, if that even ever comes out to the media or anything like that. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. I know it's just day one of the next 6 months that we have to worry about, losing pitching to injuries, but it's a good start. It's a good sign right now when nobody is really getting hurt, and we can knock on wood. But nobody is really getting hurt yet, which is
AJ Ramos just got hurt, but we'll move on with that comment. Syndergaard was 93 and 95. His velo did kick up a little bit from his last start, so that is also good news. Always want to see the velo continue to kick up. So I think he will probably sit in that 96 to 98 range. I don't think you're going to see him hit 101 every single start like you did when he was a Met, I think, with Tommy John and, just trying to get 100%. I think you'll see him sit 96 to 98. He might kick it up to 100, maybe 101 once in a while, but it's not going to be as consistent as it was. But I do see him sitting that 96, 98 range, which is unbelievable with the stuff he has. So really encouraging signs from him on Monday.
Yep, absolutely. And good to see it from Syndergaard. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table from a veteran presence as well. So let's get on to some questions. This first one is more of a comment, but it came from Dark. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to say the name. It's Dark Ram Fantasy, Where that's what it is. You know who you are if you listen to this. His is a comment. He says, "Is Patrick Sandoval a Cy Young candidate?" Can I back that up with a question? Is Patrick Sandoval the most underrated pitcher in baseball?
No, he is not the most underrated pitcher in baseball. Is he a Cy Young candidate? Absolutely. I mean, everyone before the season is going to be a Cy Young candidate.
Be positive.
I am. I'm saying he is a Cy Young candidate. You know, everyone's a Cy Young candidate until proven otherwise. So,
you're telling me right now that Trevor Cahill, wherever he is a Cy Young candidate?
If he is a starting pitcher for some team, he is a Cy Young candidate until proven otherwise. Can he win the Cy Young? Realistically, yes, he has the stuff to do it. We saw it with the almost no hitter in Minnesota. If he can continue that, he had that hot stretch where he was one of the best pitchers in baseball for about 2.5, 3 weeks. Was that 4 or 5 starts? If he can continue to pitch like that, yes, he has a shot to win a Cy Young. There are a lot of guys. Shane Bieber's coming back. Garrett Cole is going to be on a mission to win a Cy Young. So he's got a lot of competition. He does. But can he win a Cy Young? Yes. Does he have Cy Young stuff? Absolutely. But, I mean, Jared's going to be mad at me about this, but everyone is going to be a Cy Young candidate until they are proven to not be a Cy Young candidate. I mean, you look at it last year, was Robbie Ray a Cy Young candidate before the year? I don't think people were picking him. Patrick Sandoval is going to be in the same kind of class where it's like probably nobody's going to be picking him early, but if he continues to throw up quality numbers, a lot of strikeouts and low walk rate, doesn't really give up too many runs, he's going to have a shot to win it. So,
I mean, if you want a bold prediction, I say he finishes in the top 10 in Cy Young voting this year, just based off WAR alone. Like, I mean, if the voters, so I take that back. I say that he finishes in the top 10 in Fangraphs WAR for starting pitching this next year, as long as he stays healthy. And I'll put an asterisk next to that because as long as he stays healthy and we see 145 innings from him, he should, he's going to get the swings and misses. He's going to get the strikeouts.
Just make the bold claim. Don't
That's fine.
Put asterisks on there. Just make the claim.
That's fine. I will. He's going to win Cy Young then. That's my bold.
There you go. There's your bold claim.
He's not going to do. He's probably not going to win Cy Young. But if you told me right now that you are a time traveler and you came back and said Patrick Sandoval finished in the top 10 in AL Cy Young, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. He's probably going to put up a lot of strikeouts. He's probably going to put up a lot of the swings and misses, which means his WAR is going to go through the roof. And he's going to hopefully give you 5 to 7 innings a game, so he's going to do what you hope for,
That is the reason why I think it is going to be very tough for an Angel to win a Cy Young. The innings pitched is a big deal to Cy Young voters. That's why Zach Wheeler was up there last year, because of how many innings he threw. The ERA and all that wasn't the best when it comes to looking at Corbin Burns and Walker Buehler and Julio Urias and all those other guys, but his innings pitched were so high that it gave him the extra edge. That is going to be tough for Angel pitchers to do, is throw that many innings. But if his numbers are ridiculous, like Jacob deGrom, where they're, low 2s, upper 1s, he's obviously going to have a shot. But the innings pitch is going to be tough for Angel pitchers to get there.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, that's the tough part, to get, the innings pitched at the end of the day, That's just how it is. So good comment there. We'll get on to an actual question here. It comes from Adam Watson. He says, in light of the news of Ohtani leading off, how much weight do you guys put on Trout batting in the second in the lineup?
Yeah, I think it's very, very important. It allows Shohei Ohtani to see some better pitches. I think first pitch of the game, I'm going to be curious to see how often he swings at the very first pitch of the game. Typically, the first pitch of the game is a fastball for a strike, and it's going to be interesting. Will he swing at that pitch a lot and hope to catch lightning in a bottle, hit a bomb to start the game? I don't know. I think that allows him to be more aggressive hitting one, and with Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon hitting behind him, it is going to give him that option to, take a walk, because Mike Trout's behind him and Anthony Rendon's behind him. So he's going to be allowed to be more aggressive early in counts and less aggressive when he's ahead in the count, 3-0 type of count. So I think it's important that Trout hits 2. I don't want to see anyone else hitting 2, honestly. I would be okay with Rendon hitting 2, but after that, like it really should be Mike Trout hitting 2. And that'll allow the Angels to do so many more things. Ohtani could steal, which opens up a base for Trout, or even just allows Trout to see some more fastballs, because they're going to be afraid that Ohtani could steal 25, 30 bags. So he might get more fastballs. There's a lot of things that are going to help Mike Trout hitting 2 with Shohei Ohtani in front of him, just like it's going to help Shohei Ohtani with Mike Trout hitting behind him. He's going to get a lot more pitches to hit, because pitchers are not going to want to face Mike Trout with Shohei Ohtani on first base.
Yep, perfectly put. And you know who else this helps? The number 9 hole hitter, which should be David Fletcher. Going to get a lot. You're going to have to give him a lot more fastballs, right?
Sure, but I mean, I think he already got a lot of fastballs anyway. So.
Well, you know what I mean. Like he's. I think it helps out David Fletcher too in that 9 hole.
It should. It should
at the end of the day. So, yeah. And then when it comes to Mike Trout, I mean, you put 2 of the best hitters in baseball. Sandwich those guys in between Trout, and in between Trout, I guess is what you'd put to say. You put 2. Yeah, is that how you put it?
Well, if you're counting Ohtani,
you sandwich Trout with Ohtani and Rendon. That's more the correct term of how to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna help everybody.
If you put 2 of the best hitters in baseball back to back, it'll be tough.
Yeah. Well, then you put 3 of the best hitters back to back in baseball, and it's like, watch out.
So,
yeah,
exciting.
But yes, yeah. No, it's gonna be fun. I just want them to be healthy. Yeah. I just want to see what they can do for. Give me 150 games. I want to know what they can do together for 150 games. That's it.
And I think this is something we've been asking for a long time. Is Mike Trout should be leading off, and Ohtani leading off is just as close to what we want. The only reason we would have Trout lead off is because it makes it easier to go right, left, right. And with Ohtani hitting left-handed and with a guy on first base, it opens up that hole. But nevertheless, having Ohtani lead off and Trout hit 2 is going to be very, very key to this lineup. I think it makes the lineup a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, again, 1, 2, 3 is kind of scary. So next question, I guess, comment comes from Greg Corey, and I'm just going to kind of zoom in on this. I don't know if we can see that or not. Oh, actually, yeah, you can.
No, yeah.
Seen that one, right?
Yes, of course.
The White Sox, they using headphones?
Yes, it is allowed in spring training.
It's interesting to see it. I mean, we can kind of talk about that. Good catch here, Greg, on this one, and also Dom, who saw it as well.
Yeah. So college baseball, they use this. It went into effect, I believe, 2019 was the first year that it was allowed in college baseball. They wanted to make the game speed up, where you could talk to the catcher, tell them the signs, and go from there. Major League Baseball wanted to see if that was something that was going to help their game. And so it is allowed for spring training. I know that is something that they're talking about adding to possible rule changes for this offseason, 2023 offseason, I guess. So there is really a trial basis right now to see if it's something that is going to happen long term. Mm-hmm. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Is there a point to it? There shouldn't be, honestly, because the scouting reports should be written down. These guys should know them. And then, honestly, the catcher and pitcher should be calling the game. It's not college baseball. The coaches are calling the games, and it's a little bit more important to speed up the game there, because you're not having to flash 5, 6 signs and look at a card and figure out what's going on. So it's very, very important in college baseball. I do think that. Pro ball, I don't think it's as necessary, but if that's one of the changes that is made, I don't think that it's a negative change. I just don't think that it's that big of a deal. But still a really cool thing to say.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I think that it's not needed in professional baseball, maybe in the minors or something like that when guys are coming out of college. But at the major league level, I mean, even to speed up the game, we saw that there's been videos of how many times is time being called and all this stuff. So I don't think it's going to speed up the game. I like it, in a sense, but I don't know. I think that it brings the front office down to the field way too easily too, because you can be calling signs from up there. You might as well, at that point, have an offensive and defensive coordinator sit up in the upper deck and tell your players what to do. So I don't know. I like it. I do, but I think it's I don't think it's needed, just like you said. So good look in there. I like I said, I like it, but I don't think it's needed. I'm good with
Mhm.
putting the signs down. I don't think too many players are. I don't think you have too many Astros scandals going around there anymore. Or
And,
we
and
like to think.
honestly, the coaches shouldn't be calling signs either. Like the catcher and pitcher, they have their, yeah, that's really just for pickoffs and things like that. That's not really anything crazy.
Well,
Like,
it's
oh, hey,
Mike
we have to.
Scioscia though.
I know, but he wasn't calling fastballs away and things like that.
Yes,
So
he was. He would always call it.
he wasn't actually calling
Yeah,
pitches.
I don't
He
know
was
what.
just telling the catcher whether it's a pickoff or pitch out, like things like that. It wasn't actual fastball away, things like that. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I definitely think that we've seen it go away. I don't think we see too many managers and coaches call pitches anymore from in the major league level. So yeah, super interesting to point that out. So next question comes from our friend from Instagram, Angels Top Plays. He's asked, with Taylor Ward's solid spring thus far, the outfield is actually turning into a competition for the feels like Ward versus Marsh for that fourth spot. What do you think about that? And he also asks, who are your Angels for outfielders on opening day?
So there's going to be 5 outfielders on opening day because of the 28-man roster. I think you will have Upton, you will have Marsh, you will have Trout, you will have Adele, and you will have Taylor Ward all on the roster. I think when the roster goes to 26, though, I still keep the same guys. I think Justin Upton stays out of the outfield most of the time and plays first base. I think Taylor Ward gives you an option to platoon for Marsh if Marsh is struggling against left-handed pitchers. I don't think he will. He will. I think he's going to be fine. I think he will be a very good player for the Angels. But it gives them another option. The one other thing that I love about Taylor Ward, he can play catcher if you need him to. He can play first base. He can play third base. He can play all 3 outfield spots. He probably could even play second base if needed. And I think that's incredibly key with a team who has a player who only DHs. So if Rendon goes down, yes, you could move maybe a Rojas or Rengifo or Mayfield to third base. But I think Taylor Ward just gives you a little bit more offensively than those guys, and he doesn't take too much away defensively. So I see Taylor Ward being on this roster the whole year until he proves that he can't hit.
Taylor Ward was what I thought David Fletcher would be. You know, a solid utility guy in a sense. And I know that's pushing it now because I think that David Fletcher is still a solid utility guy who can play all over the diamond, and it's not going to hit a lot. But I mean, Taylor Ward has really turned into a nice piece. I'll say that right there. For former first rounder that went from, oh, he's a major leaguer, and I know you hate that term from me, into a very nice utility guy that can play, all 3 outfield positions if you need him to. Let's see, probably 3 infield positions if you need him to. And if you need an emergency catcher, he can probably catch a little bit for you as well. I'm
He
not saying that this
definitely
can't happen.
can catch.
Yeah,
We've
he
seen
definitely.
him catch. He definitely can catch.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, a guy that can play, what was that, 7 positions right there. And if
Yes,
you
7.
need him to pitch, he can probably pitch for you. Obviously you hope that you don't see Taylor Ward pitching, but if
We
you
would probably see Jared Walsh before Taylor Ward, but yes.
yes, you get what I'm saying though. Like, he's turned into a fantastic weapon. And I'm gonna again ask this question: is Taylor Ward one of the most underrated players in baseball? Like, I
Not one of the most underrated players in baseball, but he is a good player. He will have a good year playing his role. I think he should be on the roster the entire season, unless for some reason he's given an opportunity and he starts the year 2 for 22, and it's like, ooh, we're going to send him down to AAA and we're going to keep Jack Mayfield on the roster. We're going to keep Luis Rengifo on the roster. So
yeah.
I think he will have a fine year. He will be very, very helpful to an Angels team that could use a guy who could play multiple positions.
Yeah, he has been used perfectly. We mentioned that a
Especially in
lot.
spring.
Yeah, especially in spring. But he's been used absolutely perfectly to a T, with Joe Madden and what he does. So I'm all for it. I like it. I think that he's, he's turned into a fantastic utility guy that you look for at the back end of the first round. I mean, he's a major
Sure.
leaguer, man. He's a major leaguer.
Sure.
So
let's go with that one.
he's a major leaguer. So Nate, before we let everybody go, you got any final thoughts?
Final thoughts today. Yes, I've been meaning to talk about this new strength coach and new trainer for the Angels. Hopefully that's something that we said is a potential problem. We never were able to verify our concerns because obviously we can't say that it plays a factor, but it is an opportunity to see if a new strength coach and a new trainer help this team stay healthy, help this team get in the weight room more. I know that was something that we talked about last year's. The Angels weren't really in the weight room too much. They were in the weight room early and not as much in the dog days of July, August, September. So if we can keep them in the weight room, and I know people are going to be like, why are they in the weight room in July, August, September? But in order for these guys to play at their high level, they need to be in the weight room 3 times a week minimum, trying to keep their bodies in good shape to play 162 games in what it looks like 165 games or 165 days. Like, feels like they're not gonna have too many off days with the season getting pushed back 2 weeks. So double headers, whatever, it's going to be tough on the body, so they're going to need to be in good shape, and I am looking forward to seeing if it makes a difference.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, I've said sources the last couple times for my final thought. I'm going to continue with that because we talked about this. We talked with somebody inside the organization, or I mean, I talked with somebody inside the organization, but you also know this. There weren't a lot of players in the weight room last year. We know this for a fact. It's very interesting to know what is actually going on. Like it was told. I'm not even. It's just one of those things where, somebody has told us that when it comes to the weight room before and after games, that doesn't happen very often. So let's see what happens now if they are not necessarily made to go in the weight room. And okay, let's backtrack a little bit on this because this is also a Joe Madden style of thing that he likes. He runs a very, very major league style ball club. And I mean, it's weird.
He runs an optional ball club where everything is optional. Practice is optional. Lifting is optional. Everything is optional. Whatever you think will do the best for your body and your game, do that.
And sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. We don't know, like I said, we don't know what works and what doesn't for some guys. I mean, during a 162 game span, you get to the, July, August, September. I'm sure a lot of these guys probably don't want to be in the weight room. That you just, you're playing in Texas in the heat, Houston in the heat, or, wherever the outdoors is anymore out there. It's tough. I totally understand. I get it. You don't want to be at the field any longer than you have to sometimes, but at the end of the day, this is a job. So yeah, I'm with you on that. If that's a final thought, I like that. Kind of interesting thought there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what's, I wouldn't say injuries, because I think injuries a lot of times are
it's freak kind of incidents sometimes, yeah. But it'll be interesting to see how injuries are dealt with, because I think the Mike Trout thing could have been it might have not been the whole season last year. It might have only been 2 months. It'll be interesting to see if some of these guys stay healthy longer. And the other thing too, from a pitching standpoint, can some of these guys go deeper into games because their body's in better shape? I think Noah Syndergaard is a perfect example for that. He's going to bring a little bit of that, hey, I am a big dude, I like to throw, and I am going to pitch for as long as I possibly can. And my body says I can pitch for a long time because I know I'm explosive. I'm a big guy, and I can do it. I have the ability to throw long. So that is also something that could help.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, you mentioned that. I wonder, if that could be one of the reasons why they brought in a couple of these guys.
Michael Lorenzen's very similar.
Michael Lorenzen's a big dude. Yeah, no, Michael Lorenzen and Noah Syndergaard, 2 of the biggest dudes in baseball. Like maybe it's hey, let's put a little presence in the weight room this year and see what happens. Not saying that these guys don't hit the weight room or anything like that, but I mean, when you hear things from inside the clubhouse about the weight room not being used that often, it's an indicator of what's kind of going on in the organization. So again, that's the type of team that Joe Madden runs, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. and hopefully that type of thing might work with this team that they have going in 2022. So guys, again, thanks for listening here at Talking Halos and watching us on YouTube. If you could subscribe to us wherever you're listening or watching us, you can go follow us on all our social medias. Of course, you can follow myself on Twitter at Jared_Tims, Nate on Twitter at NateGreen34. And guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.